Hello and welcome. This video is going to be all about core, and it's going to be slow and controlled movements, nothing crazy, nothing cardio, but a really great way to really work on all different areas of our core. I'll be using a block and some kind of a cloth, washcloth, little towel, and a hard floor is going to be needed here, so it won't work well on carpet. All right, let's get started. We're gonna start in tabletop pose on hands and knees. If you want to go pause and grab a blanket to put under your knees for some padding, go do that. And have this cloth, whatever it might be, kitchen towel, anything, behind you on the wood floor. And we'll come into tabletop pose in the center of the mat and start by pulling in your core, really engaging those muscles. And then I'll ask you to step 1 foot back so that the toes come down on that cloth. And you might need to adjust your position on the mat to find your sweet spot. And notice that when I do this, I'm not gonna move my upper body. The only part of my body that's gonna move is this hip of the leg that's behind. I'm gonna keep my core, my shoulders, my upper body stable. And what we'll do is take in a big, nice deep breath here, and then you're just gonna use your hip muscles and your core muscles to slide that foot up front to the side, not all the way up front, and then slide back. Notice I'm not swaying my body as I do that. I'm using my core muscles to stabilize my whole torso so that the only thing working there is the hip. And indirectly, we're working our core too. If this bothers wrists, you can come up onto your fists, or you can even come down to forearms and do this. So stabilize those shoulders, stabilize your whole torso, and then use your core to hold everything in place while you use your hip muscles to slide that foot back and forth. And we'll do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back, and we'll come up if you need to take a moment. Maybe roll out your wrists, sway your hips side to side a little bit before we do the other side. So come back to either your hands or your forearms, whichever you choose. Make any adjustments that you need to do. And again, we're not moving our torso, and we're not letting this hip with the knee down sway out to the side. We're using our core muscles to hold everything in place so that the only thing that moves is that leg. So opposite side now, press away from the mat and go ahead and take that leg to the side and back out. Make sure this hip isn't shifting and bumping outwards. Use your core to hold everything steady while you do this. So yes, this is a hip exercise, but indirectly, we're getting into some core muscles here as well. So do 6 more, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, keep that core stable, and then go ahead and bring both hips back to the mat, and again, sway those hips out if you need to, roll your wrists, and we will come to lying down on our backs. Have your block handy, because we will be using a block here. So however you want to get down there, if you want to just hold on to the back of your thighs and lower down, you can, or you can choose to make your core work a little bit here. Have your block nearby where you can reach it. Go ahead and take your hands out in front of you and just very slowly roll down, tuck your tailbone under, and then just very slowly use your core to come all the way down. Reach your hands overhead and your feet out long, and just give yourself a nice big juicy stretch here. And what we're gonna do is a couple of different things using a block here. So we'll come into dead bug pose, and that is both feet up towards the ceiling, but put the block between your feet. And bring your hands up towards the ceiling as well. So this is dead bug with a block. What we're gonna do here is make sure, lift your hips up off the mat. So do this little hip bump. Make sure that your low back connects with the mat. We want to keep our low back on the mat. You don't want your low back to arch up off the mat. So what we'll do is you're going to lower your feet that way as you raise your hands overhead. Only let your legs go as far as they can go while you can still keep your low back suctioned onto the mat. So go ahead and lower your legs down, and maybe it's only this far. Maybe it's this far. Doesn't matter as long as your low back stays safe. And then you're going to bring both together, do a handoff, and then do the same thing. Lower that block down above your head. As you lower your legs down, come back up and transfer the block. So again, the trick here is to protect your low back by only letting your legs go down as far as you can go without your low back lifting up off the mat. So if that's just a little bit, that's enough. I would much rather have you only go a short distance down with your legs and keep your low back safe. We'll do 2 more. And again, do this at your own pace, slow and controlled. There's no race here, there's no rush. We'll do 1 more. And then go ahead and set the block down. Come back into dead bug pose. Roll out your wrists and ankles just because it feels really good. And then from dead bug, we're going to do a different one. And this involves some coordination. So this one's tough. You're not going to use a block. What we're going to do from here is go ahead and do any shifts that you need to do with your hips to make sure that your low back is on the mat well. We're going to take one arm overhead as we lower the opposite leg. So it takes coordination. So as you bring your right hand over your head, you're going to lower your left leg down to the mat. Notice your core muscles and which ones are kicking in. Then bring them both up and we'll switch sides. So this time left arm overhead as your right leg comes down. Takes a lot of coordination. Keep going. So opposite arm and leg are going to go down towards the mat and then come back up. Keep your low back pressed into the mat. And back up. And we'll do 4 more on each side. So opposite arm and leg come down towards the ground. Your low back is going to stay nice and stable here. This works the transverse muscles of our core. Last one on each side. And then go ahead and lower your soles of your feet down to the mat. And then maybe give your knees a little hug, roll side to side. And then stretch your arms and legs long, give your belly a nice stretch. And we're gonna end with a few crunches, and you can go as slow as you'd like to on this one. So bring your soles of your feet to the mat, and then take one leg up and over. So you're gonna cross your legs. If you'd like to, you can lift both feet off the floor and tuck that toe under. If that hurts your knees, don't do it. Just keep your legs crossed like this. And what we'll do is take our hands behind our head, and we're not dipping our chin towards our chest like this. We're going to keep our chin lifted up towards the ceiling, and you're going to take the opposite elbow to the outside of this knee. So in this case, my right knee is on top. It's closer to me. So my left elbow is going to go to the outside of that. And let's do 8 of these crunches. Keep your chin up. So we'll do 8, 7, and you're going to pull your knees in towards that elbow. So you're not just moving your elbows, you're moving your legs up and down as well. Two more. Go ahead and lower that down. Maybe sway your hips side to side here a little bit. And then we'll reverse which leg is on top. So go ahead and take both feet to the mat, cross the opposite leg over. So if you'd like to, if it doesn't hurt your knees, you can lift your legs up and tuck that foot under the calf. If that's not comfortable for you, you can just let your legs hang out here. So in this case, my left knee is on top. I'm going to aim my right elbow to the outside of that left knee. And I'm going to not just do the upper crunches, but I'm going to lower and raise my legs at the same time. So we'll do 8 of these. Get ready, set, and go. So 4 more, you've got this, you can do it. 3, Last one, you've got this. 1. Go ahead and lower down to the mat. You can release your hands overhead if you'd like to. Sway your hips side to side. Release your legs and then take your feet wide to the edges of your mat, soles of your feet to the mat, and we're just going to windshield wiper both knees to the right, both knees to the left. Just do that little windshield wiper motion. It'll help reset our pelvis and our hips and our low back after doing those exercises. So all of those can be done very slow and controlled. There's no need to rush. There's slow and controlled is actually going to really work to help build those muscles. And by working on our core, we really, really help to stabilize our low back. For anybody who has low back issues, you'll know that core is the key. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.